Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of the Between the Numbers podcast. It is the 9th of November today, and it's the day that the American public have selected themselves president. So that means whoever wins the Super Bowl this year will get a call from Mr. Donald Trump congratulating them. So that's pretty cool. He gets if you're the first person, you get a new president. That's not bad.
Do you reckon he'll take him to Trump Tower instead?
Well, instead of taking them to the White House.
Yeah,
No, I think the White House is definitely you got. I don't think that you can change that really.
I don't know. I feel like he might.
Maybe. I feel if anyone could, I guess he could.
Hmm?
Anyway, it is obviously as you guys tell, Americans got done voting. They've selected Donald Trump as their president. It's like the fourth time it's happened where like the president has won with less amount of the vote. But I don't want to make this into a politics podcast. This is all about football. Anyway, so it is. So week 9 is in the books. Moving on to week 10 now, and some pretty exciting games from this weekend. There's a lot of high scoring ones, which I always enjoy. Some good divisional matchups, and a Panthers win, which obviously I love. Like that's the third time it's happened this season. Let's go, lads. Anyway, I think we're gonna move on to pick one of our games. Anyway, Will, how's it going, man?
I'm alright. Yeah, like still recovering from that election result. But hey, we're not American, so it won't
Yeah,
affect us. That well, probably might in some way, but
maybe.
maybe.
If it causes in football, then we can comment. We can comment on it.
Yeah, we'll do it.
We'll see.
Uh,
Yeah.
but no, it was a really cool week this week. There were some interesting results, some really cool upsets. I really enjoyed the Raiders Broncos game. That was a fun watch.
Yeah.
Quite like old school football. And then fun to see the Detroit Lions win and another comeback for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. Average.
Hey, did you know? I think which part? I think it was the Move the Sticks podcast. They did a little segment where they spoke about which quarterback would you choose if you had to win a one-score game in the fourth quarter, and the majority of them all chose Matthew Stafford.
To be honest, I probably wouldn't choose Matthew Stafford.
Who would you take?
I would take probably any quarterback ahead of him in the league right now.
Ooh.
I just don't think he's that great at quarterback. I mean, he's good.
He won a game with 17 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, but like that's just poor defense.
What, against one of the best defenses in the league?
Yeah, I'm saying it was poor defenses on their part.
Yeah, but he still did it. He still came
Mm,
through it. He came through the mental side of it.
I don't. I don't know. It's just what he's got to do. Like, it's not that difficult to decide. You have to go quickly, I guess.
If he won MVP, would you acknowledge him as a good
I
quarterback?
would not acknowledge. He should not be MVP, and he should not know. It was like that season two. It was like 2 seasons ago when Aaron Rodgers got MVP, when
Yeah.
it definitely should have been JJ Watt.
Yeah.
And it was just that's just well. If Matthew Stafford somehow wins it this year, unless he throws for like a million yards, I don't know.
All
Like
right.
the Lions have had 2 winning seasons under him, so like
Yeah, but they could have. They're above. Well, they're at 500 at the moment, I think. So
they're 5-4 right now.
Yeah. So they're doing all right.
They're doing
They
alright, I
they have a
guess.
genuine chance of winning the North.
That's true. They are in for that. Obviously, Jay Cutler had a bye week, so he wasn't able to dominate as he did last week. But anyway, to get into one of the games that we're
Yeah.
going to talk about this week. So, actually, do you want to kick us off with one of yours?
Yeah, I'll start off with my game of the week. That was the Raiders at the Broncos at the Raiders. I keep doing this stupid website. Keeps flipping the teams around. It's really annoying.
Weird website you're on, man.
Yeah. But no, all right. So yeah, the Broncos at the Raiders. Game of the week. The Raiders upset the Broncos, playing some old school football where they just ran the football constantly. And their offensive line had an absolute field day with the Denver defensive line. They have one of the best pass rushers in the league, definitely. And that offensive line proved how good they are. And I think they're up there with the Dallas offensive line as probably one of the best offensive lines in football. They were pretty much. I mean, you could have stuck like any half decent back there that night, and he would have rushed
Mhm.
for 100 yards at least. I mean, Latavius Murray, he's a top level back, but I mean, imagine if they had like a Zeke Elliott or a Adrian Peterson back there. I mean,
You
they
can argue the same thing with Ezekiel Elliott, I reckon. But
yeah. I mean, I still think Ezekiel Elliott he's a top
I
level
reckon
back.
if you had say if someone who has a really average offensive line but is doing really well, like Melvin Gordon back there,
Yeah, Yeah,
Like that would be crazy.
yeah. Yeah, that'd be pretty mental. But yeah, I mean, Derek Carr only had 184 yards, but the big star of the night was Latavius Murray, who had 114 yards, and pretty much just ran the table. And that's what the
Mm.
Broncos I mean, the Raiders just did all night. They just kept running the football, and it kind of showed you like a diverse side to their team. That before that, they were quite pass heavy with Derek Carr. And they moved to the run game a lot more because they were going against one of the best secondaries in the league
Yeah.
that the Broncos have, and they changed it up quite a bit, and it kind of stumped the Broncos. And one of the other problems with the Broncos is their quarterback Trevor Siemian, who finally started to look a bit uneasy in the pocket. He made some weird throws. He threw an interception. He got sacked a couple of times as well. Khalil Mack actually got a sack. Good for him. Big fan. He
Uh-huh.
seems to like save his sacks for the games against the Broncos. But yeah, there's like Trevor Siemian. He kind of started to look a bit more like Peyton Manning last season. And the problem is that I'd be more worried if Trevor Siemian started playing at a Peyton Manning level because at least when Peyton Manning was playing badly, it was Peyton Manning and he had like the intelligence and the
Mm.
experience.
And you can say it's Peyton Manning though; he'll come through.
Yeah, but I mean, if Trevor Siemian starts playing badly, it's not a good sign. And I haven't been too impressed with what Paxton Lynch proved so in that one game. But like we've been doubting the Broncos quarterback play for the last season and a half, and they've won a Super Bowl. So um, I will continue not doubting it until they give me a reason to doubt it. Um, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much what the game was. I mean the Raiders are now firmly at the top of the AFC West. They're also
Hmm.
second to the Patriots in terms of the seedings.
Yeah.
And I think this is a game where they're for real now. Like I was saying, I said last week that if the Raiders win on Sunday Night Football, the Patriots will probably win the AFC. I think that's probably the case now. Broncos showed a lot of weakness, and that they're very beatable. And the Raiders showed that they're a force to be reckoned with. And I can't wait. I mean, they've got a fairly straightforward schedule for the rest of the season. So I think them winning the AFC West is a huge possibility. I put them favourites right now.
Yeah, how about that? The Raiders probably going back into the playoffs for the first time in ages. I think it's definitely been the case that Derek Carr and the Raiders have been like a little bit underestimated because underappreciated because they haven't played the big teams and won. They all the teams they played like were losing teams last season. The teams they beat against this season are like the same. Um, like you say, like the Broncos are a good team. That like everyone knows that. Obviously, reigning Super Bowl champs. So yeah, it shows that the Raiders are actually up for it.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
their hardest games coming up. They play the Panthers. I don't know why I used the Royal
it's
You.
me. I am the only
You're
player on
literally
the
just
entire
turning up
team. It,
like Peter Griffin in that Family Guy episode where he just stands up against the entire Patriots defense. It's gonna be you.
that's gonna be
Um,
me being like, "Hey guys, don't worry about this. I got it."
and then yeah, they got the Panthers, they got the Texans the next couple games, and then their last game of the season is at the Broncos, and they've also got at the Chargers and the Chiefs. So they've got to go away to all of their division rivals.
Mm.
But they're definitely the best team in the division, so there's no reason why they can't go to those games and wins. I think they'll pick up like a few, at least two more losses.
Hmm. But they
So
can
maybe the
like it'll be. I think they'll be able to get to playoff definitely.
yeah,
Like
I
secure
don't
a
like.
playoff spot.
I think the possibility of two teams from the West being in the playoffs is very.
Well, let's put it this way right now. If any of the AFC teams, I say AFC West teams loses, they're currently all in the play. They're currently the top three are all in the playoffs right now. If
Yeah,
they lose again, they're still in the playoffs. They're
yeah,
still no. It's a while for someone to catch them up. Speaking of people who could, I guess, catch them up, I'm going to talk about an AFC matchup with two big powerhouses here in the AFC North. Well, we got not really big that right now. They were like touted for the start of the season. The Pittsburgh Steelers went to Baltimore to take on the Ravens, and they're on like a 2-game losing streak, and they need to buck the trend. But really, it just like Big Ben was back for the game, but really it wasn't. It was just the Ravens defense just frustrated the offense and kept and like held it down for the entire game basically. Only allowing like all the points in the fourth quarter for the Steelers. So obviously the Ravens come out victors as at 21-14. With Joe Flacco even throwing a 95-yard touchdown to Mike Wallace, I think an ex-Steeler himself.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that's a Raiders record. I mean, it's a Ravens record.
it's a Ravens record. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, that led Joe Flacco on the way to 241 yards, one touchdown and interception. But like he's spreading the ball out a lot. Mike Waller's got 124 yards off just four receptions, and that touchdown with the longest being that 95-yard touchdown run we picked up. And it was just seemed that the Ravens just kind of squeezed their defense squeezed on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they couldn't really get much going. To us in the like they punt the Steelers punted 9 times, so like shows you how bad they are in field goal percentage. They
The
didn't take
Steelers had two first downs in their first 12 drives.
yeah of like they net their kicker Boswell only took extra points. Um, he never took a field goal. So it shows you how the Ravens defense stepped up in this. And this is what I really want to highlight. Whenever the Ravens play the Steelers, especially this rivalry, I think is one of the best in the NFL. And there's always a big game. This one, it's always like the two like old school powerhouses with the Bengals definitely rising up. We all know about the Bengals Steelers rivalry, but this one is like an old one from I guess like the
Guys,
not that old, but old from
it's
from the
better. I mean, it's been spiced up more because the Steelers and the Ravens were two of the like really successful teams at the start of the 21st century.
mm,
With that like really good Ravens team that had Ray Lewis and Eric Reed in it. I mean Ed Reed, and then like the good like emerging Steelers team that had a really good defense as well. And then Ben Roethlisberger quarterback. So it's been like always like a really intense matchup, and they've played each other in the playoffs quite a few times as well.
mm,
And it's always been a good watch. But I felt like it was this one like it was a really typical Steelers Ravens game that it was kind of like a like in terms of like offense wasn't very interesting to watch. It was mostly all on defense. And the Ravens didn't do much on offense as well, apart from that like 95-yard touchdown.
yeah.
It was pretty much quite static most of the time. But it was cool. It was nice to watch like the Ravens play like the Ravens play, which is just solid defense, and then Joe Flacco just does just enough to
Mm.
win them games. And
Yeah,
I enjoy it. I thought Eric Weddle had a really good game as well. He played really well.
I love a bit of Eric Weddle.
Yeah.
Anything that he does, I'm always a big fan of,
Yeah.
basically. I just wanted to talk about the Ravens held Le'Veon Bell, possibly the best running back in the league, to 32 yards from 14 attempts.
Yeah.
That like, if you want to stop it, then that's how you go.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. So yeah, the Ravens go on top of the Steelers in the AFC North. They've both got a 4-4 record. Very surprising for the Steelers right now, because everyone expects the Steelers to maybe even not lose 4 games throughout the entire season.
Yeah.
Here we are, almost like just after halfway, and they're 4-4. The Ravens gonna be happy with their start, 4-4. They're with 2-0 in divisional matchup, so they're happy. These guys next play each other in Week 16, so that could be a vital game in
Oh,
deciding who gets the AFC North. So
that's that's gonna be a cracker to watch.
uh,
Also,
um,
weird stat that I found that Ben Roethlisberger is 2-6 on the first game coming back from injury.
2-6. Wow,
Yeah.
must be something's going wrong there.
But he did look pretty terrible. Like he made some really like inaccurate throws. Like his movement didn't seem that bad. It was just like his throwing motion that was terrible, which is kind of weird for him because usually he suffers from mobility when he comes back from injury. So
Mm,
that's maybe something to watch out for, that he could lose some form possibly.
true. Right, do you want to move on to one of your games?
Yeah, why not? All right. I'm gonna do the Tennessee Titans at the San Diego Chargers.
Oh, wonderful.
Let's stick to the AFC West. We don't really talk much about the Texans on the show, but it's because they're not
Mm.
very good. We
Quite
do,
exciting games, really.
yeah. But the Chargers we give a lot of love to, and we're going to give them all love because this was a really exciting game. It was close until the fourth quarter, when the Chargers came back. Big turning point was an interception. Well, it was a fumble recovery off an interception that Mariota lost the ball. Kind of weird because usually the Chargers are the ones who are on the back of like a smashing in the fourth quarter, but they came well, and then they ended up winning the game 43-35. But most of that was there was a bit of garbage time points that came through. And the reason I chose this game was mainly because I was so impressed by the Chargers defense. They played so well. They have this like really good combination what they do where they line up say Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa on the defensive line, and just smash through, and it's become such a like effective combination, and it's been destroying loads of offensive lines. And the Titans have quite a good offensive line. They've invested quite a lot in it because of the way that they want to keep Mariota like fit or fit or ready, and it kind of didn't play out for them. But I thought like Mariota's been quite like, up and down this season, but I thought he had a really good game. They obviously the big thing for the Chargers as well is they held DeMarco Murray to less than 100 yards. And that really does affect Mariota's game when he hasn't got that kind of DeMarco Murray to lean on because it doesn't allow him to kind of be as dynamic as he is in the pocket. But he did throw for about 313 yards. Philip Rivers had about 275 yards and threw a couple of touchdowns as well. And Melvin Gordon had another 196 yard day. I mean, he's going for
Big day for him.
he's gone like I mean he had a pretty mediocre rookie season, but I mean he's gone from strength to strength. And the Chargers, I mean their schedule over the next couple of weeks isn't like that difficult. They have so their next game is against the Dolphins in San Diego. Then they go on a bye week. Then they're at the Texans, and then they play the Bucks. Like those are three very winnable games. And if they win those three games, they're suddenly at 7-5, and they're in the hunt for a possible wildcard spot. Like, the division's out of the question for them. I don't think they're going to do that. But this would be like quite typical of the Chargers to just slowly and surely like still be around there at the end of the season. And I think the reason why they can do this is because that defense has stepped up so well. I think Joey Bosa is a real like candidate to for defensive rookie of the year, and he's made a huge impact. I mean, imagine if they'd had him since week one. I mean, how incredible that would be. And I think as long as Philip Rivers is standing at center for them on offense, they don't have to worry because he'll find a way to give people production, and they've got Melvin Gordon as well to turn to. So like definitely like looking up for the Chargers, and it's gonna make the AFC West so interesting now. Hopefully, I really hope the Chargers do win the next couple of games.
It's a very interestingly strong division, especially how in their worst team, only being the Chargers, and the Chargers are one of those teams who can. Well, we've seen like that when they're sub 500 right now, but I mean they win one more game, they go 5-5. It's pretty respectable at this stage with the rest of the division being a winning one. It could be the new best division in football, which I definitely didn't see this coming when we ranked divisions before the season started.
Yeah, I did not see this coming. I didn't think it would be as competitive as it is. But I mean, it does. I mean, shouldn't jump too early on the Chargers. They do have to win the next three games if they want to be competitive. But they've got three really winnable games coming up, and they're trending in the right direction.
Definitely. All right, I'm going to move on to one of my games. I'm going to talk about the Indianapolis Colts, who went up to Green Bay to take on the Packers and came out with a victory, which surprised many of us. Definitely for me. First of all, the Colts started off with a opening kickoff touchdown return. Wow, kickoff touchdown return.
Got it down on the field.
Yeah, exactly. They kicked it and then he went for a touchdown. 99 yards on the first play of the game from Jordan Todman. And it just started off where it started with a really quick fire first quarter in this, where Indianapolis led 14-10 at the end of the first quarter, and big day. Like Andrew Luck also throwing 2 interceptions in that time, both leading to Andrew Rodgers taking them down the field and getting points. But Rodgers threw for 3 touchdowns on the day with only 1 interception. And then Luck throwing for 1 touchdown with 2 interceptions in the first quarter. But the important thing for the Indianapolis Colts is they got their run game going. And Frank Gore went for 60 yards. Not really that much, but the 2 touchdowns, which is really important. So they can punch it into the goal line. Frank Gore went in for a 7-yard run, a 4-yard run. So important that you can stop run down the Packers when you need to, and I think that's definitely something the Colts were lacking. It just seems like they relied a lot on Andrew Luck throwing it, which fair enough they did. He threw for 281 yards on 30 times, but it shows that they have that other part of the game, and Frank Gore isn't quite out of it yet. Also got a little bit of the quarterback options going on. Luck had 7 runs in the game. He's good, but yeah, it's a good thing for the Colts. They definitely needed that, and they're only 1 win away from being 500, I believe. Are they? Yeah, they are. They're
Yeah,
4-5 right now, so, and they're currently ninth in the AFC playoffs, so they could potentially move up into wildcard contention, or even contest for the one game off the Houston Texans.
I think
So
I could see them getting the division as more plausible as a wild card because I think the Texans might end up kind of like petering out slightly because I think missing JJ Watt will hit them harder later on in the season when they come to like clutch games and they haven't got like a big star to lean on. And I think the Colts having Andrew Luck is such a benefit because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
mm,
And I think they're just starting to realize that where they just need to let Andrew Luck do what he does and they can win games. And he did that. I mean, he was miles better than Aaron Rodgers in this game. Aaron Rodgers is having a serious like crisis of confidence. He looks terrible, and the whole Packers team looks terrible. Like, I think they were Rodgers was complaining after the game, saying there was a lack of like motivation coming from the sideline.
mm.
So whether like him and like Mike McCarthy are bashing heads at the moment is interesting. But I mean, it's weird seeing the Packers like this because they're always like a team that you just assume is going to make the playoffs, and when they play badly, you still assume they're going to make the playoffs.
Mm.
And they're playing terribly at the moment, and they've got a pretty average record. So
They're 4-4, yeah.
yeah. I mean, and the North isn't like I mean, the NFC North is hotting up a bit. I mean, the obviously you got those Detroit Lions there,
Mm.
and the Minnesota Vikings. So I mean, they could like it's a very like plausible scenario where they could kind of just slip out of the playoffs and just you wouldn't really notice it because you
Yeah,
just
it's
assume
true. You
like the
could,
whole time they're going to make it, and then suddenly it gets to week 16 and it's like week 17, it's like oh whoops, the
and especially
Packers.
with how the like the other divisions are matching up in how they everyone's not that bad. Like the NFC East, everyone's above 500. It's currently the most the best division in football, technically, if you call it like that. If you think everyone's got a 500 or above scale score, so they're doing all right. Or they're doing all right there. So yeah, you could definitely see the Packers maybe drop out of the playoffs. And Aaron Rodgers is playing well, but it's just the rest of the Packers aren't really go up to him. It's like they haven't kick-started yet. But no time to panic, I don't think. Yeah, you're only 4-4. You're only one win away off the division. They do have a 2-1 divisional record right now, which is good. So if they improve that, then they should be fine. But
Yeah.
chance.
I mean, I'd say this is always it was quite an impact. I think it was their worst loss in a while in Lambeau. So it was quite like a reasonable embarrassment for them as well. Like almost not as bad as losing to the Bears on Brett Favre night.
Mm.
But they're definitely gonna be licking their wounds for a bit after this.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I mean, we want to move on to your other game now.
Yeah, sure. My final game is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Kansas City Chiefs. I've just realised I've picked all four AFC West teams. I just love the AFC West so much. It's such a good division, and AFC South teams. I haven't done any NFC teams this week. We have kind of like we've had no NFC East teams.
I do have one NFC East team in the next game I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, we do.
So
Uh,
that's not an NFC, sorry, not East. I got
NFC.
West team. Sorry,
Yeah, AFC. Oh, yeah.
sorry,
Um,
guys.
All right, so yeah, quickly I'll do this game quickly. So yeah, it was basically the big thing on this game was that the Chiefs. It wasn't pretty, but it was like a typical Chiefs win where they just ground out the victory. They played hard on defense. They played well on offense when they needed to. They didn't have obviously Nick Foles was in because of Alex Smith having his concussion, and Nick Foles did an all right job. He did what he needed to do. Like, he's not the most amazing and talented of quarterbacks, but he just got the job done. The Chiefs got the job done on defense. It was close towards the end, but you're never in doubt that the Jags were going to win this game. It was kind of like just close because that's just how the Chiefs play. Jags, they have serious problems. I mean, Blake Bortles, his throwing motion is just completely gone. And I think as well, it's really like hitting the receivers as well, because when you watch them, guys like Alan Hearn and Allen Robinson, they're not completing their routes like completely, and they're not running them at full pace as well. And I think that as well because they just don't trust Bortles to get the ball there. So they're like, well, why should I run my route at full speed then if the ball's not coming there? One positive that the Jags fans can maybe take from this game is that Chris Ivory rushed for 170 yards, so they've got at least a ground game that they can build off. I don't think the Jags. I mean, I don't think there's going to be much improvement coming this season unless they sort out Bortles' throwing motion. And I mean, it's weird. I mean, they haven't really got a quarterback like. It's not that they can bench him for a week and try and sort him out because their backup quarterback is Chad Henning or something, and that's just even worse than Bortles at the moment.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, I mean they're now at 2-6, and I mean them Jags and the Jets are two teams where I mean obviously the Browns as well and the 49ers. I'd say their seasons are definitely over. And I mean the Jags have got a big thing to think about now whether they keep Gus Bradley. I would probably say that he's probably out the door by the end of the season because they haven't progressed this season. If anything, they've regressed because Bortles looks worse than he did last season. But the Chiefs, they ground out another win. I think the Chiefs are pretty dead set on getting a wild card position this year. They're looking good because they're doing what the Chiefs always did, where they don't win pretty, they don't win like amazingly. It's not great offense. They just play methodically and they get wins. And
They've
they
got a very solid defense, which helps them
yeah.
as well.
And they
So are you expecting two teams from the AFC West?
at the moment I would say
Yeah,
so
sorry,
because
sorry, sorry. Two teams being the wild cards.
yeah, at the moment it looks like it because I
Okay.
mean the other teams that are around that potentially could be a wild card team that are like one or two games behind. I think they're much worse teams. So then you're looking at so
So
the
yeah,
teams that are
the
sticking behind
Steelers
them.
or
You got
the Steelers or the Ravens or the Bengals. I mean, they're all.
I mean the way they're playing they don't look very good at the moment,
Hmm.
and I just think the Chiefs. I mean the Chiefs. And the Broncos just look like very good teams. I mean, the team that I would actually say that could maybe drop out would be the Broncos.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
I think the Chiefs they just look so solid, and they're just going to keep. I think they're just going to keep grounding out wins and probably go to like 11-5 or something.
True.
And I think the Broncos there's a lot more instability there, and a lot more things that could go wrong.
Yeah, I do have to give you that. I mean, one of the games that guys I'm talking about, teams I'm talking about in the next game, in the AFC matchups. One who I definitely think is going to be able to push for a for a wild card slot. Although I think they should feel pretty hard done by this past game. And it's the Buffalo Bills who went to Seattle to go take on the Seahawks. And the main thing about this game is sure that the Seahawks won 30-25, but the main thing was Richard Sherman he was horrifically offside at one field kick block. The receiving team with Dan Carpenter, and even before the ball was snapped, Sherman's running past the last blocker, and he dives into Carpenter's knee, gets called offsides, and of course Carpenter is not able to hit a crucial field goal in to bring the game within touching distance for the Bills. And it was just this game. It was one of those ones where it sparked loads of memes after the game, saying the 12th man on the Seahawks. And it was just a picture of the refs who just nothing was going the Bills' way. This game, I thought Tyrod Taylor, despite having an interception, had a really good game himself. He threw for 89 yards with one touchdown. And he ran in for one himself. He got 43 yards rushing, which I think the rushing game for the Bills was good against that prolific defensive line for the Seahawks. Shady McCoy rushed for 85 yards, and Tyrod Taylor picked himself up 43, showing him the dimensional quarterback that he is. This game, I did feel hard done for the Bills. It was just. It was just nothing was going right their way, and they didn't get the calls they should have done. And I don't know how Richard Sherman didn't get called for I don't know. I'm not even sure what he would have been called for, but it wasn't even roughing the kicker. It was just deliberately going in at Dan Carpenter's knee, which he got
Yeah,
off for. And it's just if it was anyone else, would he got off for that?
yeah. I think it's the Seahawks they do get away with quite a lot of stuff, um, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I do think Richard Sherman should have been called out for that call,
Hmm.
and they got really lucky. And the Bills should be hard done by, but I think in the grand scheme of things, I think the Seahawks were the better team.
Yeah, true. I mean, I've read Jimmy Graham's. He caught two touchdown, both one-handed, both really good catches. The Seahawks their offense moving fluidly. Wasn't stopping. Good, nice bit of back. Oh, I don't know how you got the back like all the running backs with their like all chipping in to making an effort in the team. With Christian Michael even getting one rushing touchdown. Russell Wilson even got through for two. Both Jimmy Graham were those who got 8 receptions for 103 yards and two one-handed touchdowns. It seems to be the Jimmy Graham that we'd seen in New Orleans has finally come to Seattle.
I think
It's working out for them.
there's definitely a lot more mobility in Russell Wilson's play, and I think he's finally like shaking off that ankle injury. And they're doing like the typical Seahawks thing, which is halfway through the season they suddenly like click it on and
Yeah,
play amazingly well.
this could be the one week where they slightly fall down, but I think they seem to have survived it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, should we get on to the predictions for next week? This would
Yeah.
be whatever next week is, week 10.
Week 10,
Wow.
week 10.
Week 10. We're going through NFL season quite quickly, aren't we?
Yeah, it's been going by. Yeah, it's true. It's gone by quickly.
Right. Thursday night game, we have the Browns at the Ravens, who just beat the Steelers, and well, it's a home game, and it's also the Browns. The Browns will go one, and I mean, they're not going to get one.
No.
0-10. The Ravens in this game, I've got.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the Ravens as well. I don't see a reason. Like, I think I don't think I'm probably gonna end up picking the Browns much again at any point this
I
season.
don't even know. Wait, so let's go see who they have. The Browns got the Steelers the following week.
Yeah, no, they're not gonna
They
win
play
that.
the Giants.
Yeah.
And then they have a bye. What? Okay, they got a bye. In week
Well, they might
13.
even lose a game in the bye. To be fair.
In week 13, no way. Okay. Anyway, and they come back. They play the Bengals. They play the Bills in week 15. The
I could see that
week,
as a possible.
The Chargers week 16, maybe.
I could see the
Chargers
Bills in week 15 as a possible win for them.
Week 15 and week 16, maybe the Browns get a win.
Yeah.
But the thing
Like
is, if
towards
they
the
get
end.
a win, they might actually not get the number one pick
Oh yeah, true.
because the 49ers are so terrible. Anyway, moving on to the Sunday games. First one up, we have an AFC South matchup in the Texans going to Jacksonville, take on the Jaguars. I think the Texans are the better team in this, and they have been pushing forward. Plus, the Jags only have 2 wins now.
Yeah.
I don't see the Jags getting a win here. Like I think as much as I'm not sold on Brock Osweiler and what the Texans do, the Jags have just been terrible this season.
Yeah, I think the Texans have got enough to win this game because Jags they look pretty terrible now. But I think generally they're going to struggle a bit after this game. The Jags they've got a difficult game going to Mexico against the Raiders. That's going to be really good fun to watch as well. But I think we could slowly see a decline in the Jags if there isn't like increase or like an improvement in Brock Osweiler's play at quarterback.
True. The Texans there, you meant? Yeah, definitely. Right, moving on. So I got the Broncos going to the Saints in the next game. I mean, like I know the Broncos are coming over for an early game, and it's an early kickoff for them, so it'll be like 10 a.m. for them. But they just come back off that loss to the the Raiders, and they need to put pressure on the Raiders. And the Raiders got a bye week, so the Broncos can put back on their level, and I think they'll take the win here.
You know what? I'm going for the Saints in this game.
For the Saints, yeah?
Yeah, because I mean, okay, that Saints defense is pretty terrible. They gave up because I'm not really buying into the fact that the Saints are like a playoff team, but because they gave up 400 yards against the 49ers offense, that's pretty bad. But this is like a kind of game that I think just in terms of like a pure matchup, I think they could win because the Saints have got a really good offense, and they've developed a really good run game now. That's kind of a combination of Mark Ingram and Tim Hightower, who both look really good. And then add that you've got a future Hall of Fame quarterback, Drew Brees, there. Michael Thomas has developed really well as a receiver. Brandon Cooks, Cody Fleener, Willie Snead. So there's weapons all over the place.
True.
Against the Broncos team that's going to feel like wounded after losing to the Raiders.
Exactly, they'll have a chip on their shoulder. That's where the Broncos going to get it.
No, but the Raiders exposed like difficulties on their defensive line that you can run the ball with. And I think the Saints could exploit that because they showed they could have a run game.
The Saints definitely don't have a run game.
Yeah, they do. They ran for like almost over 200 yards last week. Okay, it was the 49ers, so we'll take off 100 yards. But okay, we'll take off 100 yards from that. So that's still like 100 yards rushing. And then come on, like the I mean, the offense of the Broncos is looking pretty terrible.
Yeah,
So,
that is true. That is true. I just think the defense will carry them
and hey,
through.
man, Saints is always a trap game playing in that dome.
True, true. All right, so moving on to the next game, we have the Rams, the LA Rams, who lost to the Panthers the past week. Don't know if you guys knew that, but
What's your
um,
record?
3-5. I'm going on to the Big Apple to take on the Jets, and both these teams are in pretty poor form right now. My feeling is I might just give Jets the W because they're home, because the Rams have just been very average since they haven't got their passing game sorted. Case Keenum just seems to throw the ball away at any opportunity, and any opportunity to win a game, he will be there to ruin it for the Rams. So I think I'm going to pick the Jets in this one, even though the Jets quarterback Fitzpatrick has the same issue.
I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go for the Rams in this game. I think they've got more talent on their team, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that's
Ooh.
playing well. I think the Jets have got the talent on the defensive side, but it's not being utilised. Guys like Mo Wilson, I mean, Darrell Revis is. I mean, he's got one step in retirement at the moment, and there's a lot more like deeper lying issues within the Jets that I think could affect them. I think the Rams will scrape a win, and I would really wish they put Jared Goff in the game because I'm getting bored of watching Case Keenum.
Yeah, true. Like, what are they going to do with it? What are they going to do with him? Can they finally play him or not? Because Case Keenum isn't the answer, and they know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question. I mean, Jeff Fisher keeps saying that Jared Goff will play when he's ready, so it probably means that he is really not ready if they're still willing to. I mean, Jeff Fisher won't admit it, but like, come on, Case Keenum, he's playing so badly. He had one good game against the Lions, where, but I mean, the Lions defense isn't very good, but he looks terrible, and the fact that he's willing to stick with him shows that Jared Goff is probably really not very ready.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be something like that. Anyway, I'm moving on to the next game. It's the who have we got? We have the Falcons traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, in a game which is quite interesting actually. I mean, it has like playoff implications for both teams. I mean, the Falcons win this, they move to 7-3. It's a pretty good record for the Falcons to have, but it is in Philadelphia, and the Eagles definitely need a win to try and come through in the just kind of try and come through in it and like try and make a push for that NFC East one. It's a tough and competitive division. That I literally don't know how to call this game.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Eagles in this game mainly because I'm interested to see like what kind of team this Eagles team is because this is the first like clutch game they have. If they win this game, they're right back in the like option like hunt for a playoff because I mean that NFC wild card hunt is pretty terrible. Like there's some pretty terrible teams that are still within a shout of getting a wild card spot. Um, and yeah, I mean, and usually you get to this point in the season where you have these kind of games. And the team that needs to win more usually ends up winning. And the Eagles are at home, and I think that they need to win more than the Falcons. And I think that will be the kind of thing that pulls them through. But I could be proven wrong. I mean, the Falcons. I mean, Matt Ryan had an absolutely incredible day against the Bucks on Thursday Night Football. He really put another kind of added another layer to his MVP candidacy.
True, true, and I feel like that might mean that I have to take the Falcons in this game. They're on a roll. The Eagles are in a little bit of a rut right now. They're not really sure what's going on. There'll be a lot of points in this game for sure. I don't think the Eagles secondary can really stop the passing attack of the Falcons, so I'm gonna have to pick the Falcons at this one as much as I really don't want to. Because then if the Panthers lose, they'll be 4 games away, and we ain't getting that back. I think if the Falcons keep winning in the next couple of weeks, they should have this division locked up.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm picking the Falcons. Anyway, going on to talk about the Panthers. The next game is the Chiefs at the Panthers. And for this game, really, this is a huge crunch game. I think if the Panthers don't win this game, we'll drop to 3-6, and I don't think we can come back and get to the playoffs after that, especially with how the Falcons have been playing. Even though saying that if we pick up the win and the Falcons lose, the Falcons will be 6-4 and we'll be 4-5, so we'll be very close to them. But I really don't know in this game, and I like how we've been playing the past couple of weeks, but it just hasn't been good enough. And this Chiefs, how you said earlier, the Chiefs grinding out their victories.
I'm gonna go for. I mean, I'm gonna pick the Panthers in this game. I
Right.
think you're.
I'll pick them for like an optimistic one, but I wouldn't be surprised if we lose this, and I
Yeah,
think that if we do, we will be out of the and the Falcons win, we'll be out of the playoff push. I think.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I
So I
mean,
think
there's.
must win game for us really.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's a big game for you, and I think it will be a really low scoring game because your offense still hasn't really got going. I mean,
Yeah, still
you were
some
pretty
clicks really.
terrible in times against the Rams, but your
Mm.
defense has played really well. And I think again with like that really kind of one-dimensional offense that the Chiefs have, I think you could maybe take advantage of them. And the problem is the Chiefs always find a way of winning. So good
Yeah,
luck.
it's true. Well, I hope we win. Otherwise, I'll be give the game over. I reckon for the playoffs. Anyway, moving on. The Bears with Jay Cutler return to the screens on Sunday, traveling to Tampa Bay, taking on another NFC South team. And the Bears have come back from a bye. The Buccaneers are currently 3-5. So this could be difficult. This could be an interesting one. The Bears could win this game. Um, I think I might have picked the Bears actually, with Jay Cutler coming back off the bye week and how you won in week 8. Yeah,
I'm gonna
what do
go
you
with
got?
the Bucks. I think these are two quite average teams, but
Oh,
I
it's a
think the Bucks
terrible
have got a
game. I
little.
don't really want to watch this game.
Yeah, I mean, but I think the Bucks have just got a little bit more.
True. All right. Okay. But moving on. You got the Vikings at the Redskins, two NFC playoff teams last year, and the Vikings definitely in need of a win. But yeah, the Redskins have been showing their mettle. I think the Redskins are they coming off a bye? I think they might be.
Yeah, they went to London.
Yeah, they come off bye. I'm gonna pick the Redskins this one, especially as they're at home in Washington.
All right, I'm gonna go for the Vikings. I think that
Ooh.
the way you beat the Vikings is with just exploiting their offensive line because it's been so terrible. And I think the Redskins haven't got enough in terms of a defensive line to exploit that. And I think they'll struggle. But who knows? And also think I find that I was really high on the Redskins before this season, but their offense have been so streaky. And I think against a top defense like the Vikings have, they'll struggle. So
True. Right. Yeah. Well, I'll pick I'll pick the Skins in that one. Anyway, moving on. The last morning game, the Packers travel to the Titans for a game which actually has a lot of consequences if we think about it. With the Packers really in need of a win, and with the Titans we're definitely not out of the race in the AFC South right now. Um, I could see the Titans winning this,
ooh,
but
controversial.
but I don't think sorry, not Andrew Luck. Aaron
Aaron.
Rodgers is going to lose another game. I think it's like 3 straight they've lost.
Yeah, I mean, this is
So
the kind of game where I could see the
I could
Packers
see
going
them.
down to Tennessee and like putting a high score over, and then next week losing.
Yeah, yeah. I'll pick the Packers in this one. I don't think Aaron Rodgers like he is top. I think top 3 quarterback in the league right now. Even despite how bad he is, and I'll pick him for this game. I'll pick him over the Titans.
I'm gonna go Packers as well.
Okay, right. Moving on to the afternoon games, we have the Dolphins at the Chargers. A game which you think in other ones hasn't been that great, but the Dolphins are currently 500 and 4-4, and the Chargers we were talking about them earlier, how they could be a team to reckon with. I personally do really like the Dolphins right now, and I'm gonna pick the Dolphins to go pick up a win here again. I've just seen they're doing it. They're not coming off a bye week, no. I like the Dolphins. What they're doing, grind out the win against the Jets last week. I think they can do the same.
Yeah, they definitely found an identity now that they've got such a good run game with Jay Ajayi. But I'm so high on the Chargers right now, and I'm really impressed with how they've been doing. And obviously, like I said, I think they're going to go on this 3-game winning streak. So let it begin.
True, right. What do we have the next game? We have the 49ers at the Cardinals. I think this is a win for the Cardinals, even
Yeah.
though the 49ers they're not. I don't think they might not get another win for the rest of the season. I'll move on to the
Do we
49ers.
even need to debate that this is going to be a win for the Cardinals?
Yeah, that's true. Are the 49ers going to win another game this season?
Yeah.
They're playing the Dolphins in 2 weeks. Oh, they're playing the Bears in week 13, maybe.
Okay. That could.
They got that. I don't know, maybe. Yeah. Right. Moving on to the so we've got Cowboys at Steelers taking off the afternoon games. This could be a big game not for this this is a big game for the Steelers, obviously coming off that loss from Baltimore last week. They need to show that they can play against the big teams. This could be a big run game. I expect the Dallas Cowboys to run all over the Steelers defense because I don't think it's that great at the run stop. But it's gonna be a test for I think it's offense versus offense this game. That's basically it. But I think that the Cowboys are gonna edge it.
I'm gonna disagree with you there, mate.
Well, okay
Yeah,
then.
sorry. I'm going to take the Steelers because this is the kind of game where, despite the fact how much I just criticised Ben Roethlisberger, this is the kind of game where I could see them just going in and scoring like they did where they beat the Chiefs. They lost to the Eagles and they went home the next week and absolutely smashed the Chiefs. I don't think they're going to smash the Cowboys, but I think they'll win.
Okay, fine. It'll be interesting. Stopping the Cowboys' win streak. I mean, I think they're going to help them move to 8-1. The Cowboys doing well. Right, moving on to the Sunday night game. We have the Seattle Seahawks going on to your New England Patriots, who many see this could be a Super Bowl game, which is happening right now in November. This is a potential matchup.
I mean, logic would dictate this would be the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously, I don't think the Cowboys are going to get to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
If they do, I'd be like, damn, that is a great team. Look at that rookies. And,
I mean, Dak Prescott will go straight into the Hall of Fame in his rookie year.
Yeah, so is Ezekiel Elliott has to as well. Sorry, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Right, I think this game, it's you guys are playing at home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give you guys the W here.
Yeah, I'm going. I mean,
you guys had a bye last week as well. Yeah, giving you the W.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, until the Patriots give me a reason that we're going to lose a game
with Tom Brady.
Yeah, unless Tom Brady's. I mean, it's going to be a really good game. I'm so excited about it.
The only time I'd pick someone who's not the Patriots would be if they were led by the quarterback in the next game in Monday Night Football. Eli Manning and the New York Giants stay in New York, and the Cincinnati Bengals after their bye week from London come across New York to play them. And this game has playoff implications. The Giants want to prove they're still going to be they're still important in the NFC. And the Bengals need to show that from last week with the Ravens and the Steelers game that they can pull off a win. They need to get back into playoff contention there. This game, I could see the Bengals shutting down the New York Giants offense, but also I can see Odell Beckham going for like 150 yards.
I actually think the Bengals are going to win. I think. Sorry, I'm just disagreeing with you all.
It's good this week. Next week we can actually see who's got it right.
Yeah. I think the Bengals are going to win this. I think I'm still not like highly convinced by the Chargers because I think they rely too much on their defense and their offense is still slightly erratic at times. And I'm still like, I think the bye might have helped the Bengals a bit, that they might come back slightly more, slightly better. And I think the Bengals, like they've been on the end of some harsh losses, not lushes. And I think this will be a win for them. And I still think Andy Dalton's playing well. I just think he's suffering from missing a lot of his weapons.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I do get I can definitely see the Bengals winning this game. Really hoping the Giants defense they acquired and spent so much money on over the summer come up and show big in this game. And it's the only way that the Giants are going to win this. But I do think they can win it, and I think their offense is one of the most explosive ones in the league. So I'm going to have to go for the Giants in this one. I think that'll wrap up our predictions and the podcast for this week, guys. Unless there's anything else you want to discuss, Will.
Probably like political stuff, but I'll save that for the politics.
Political stuff, obviously, the one we're about to start right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed it. If you do, and you're listening to us somewhere, please come back again. Hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. I don't know if many of you are. If you've made it to the end of the podcast, oh my God, please tell us no. Like, please let us know that you have, because I actually don't think anyone does.
We'll give you a mention in the next podcast.
Yeah, I'll be like, this guy's amazing. Yeah. Like, I would be so. Anyway, if you have, let us know. And until next week, guys, have a good one.